Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. Got some things I need to share with y'all. I don't know if y'all been paying attention to how fast the truth has been coming out. The truth has been coming out so fast. It is mind-boggling. And when I talk about the truth, I'm talking about all the things that are happening in the Middle East, that they as in just people on the ground, are in a couple of days like revealing how a lot of the stuff that is coming out is propaganda, like the hospital being blown up. Come to find out, the hospital, the structure is still there. All those people that they said dead aren't dead. The story about the infants being beheaded. Come to find out, you know, our papa lied and said I saw the pictures, and then come to find out after being challenged he was lying. So like, there's just so many lies. If you just sit back and don't take sides and just wait, like the truth is coming out in a couple days. And I remember a time where it would be decades, where it would take us, decades to get the truth. Now the truth is coming out like, shoot, give it 3 days, sometimes in 24 hours. People are like, ah. So with that said, I feel like they're getting ready to clamp down on social media, because, especially on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, because the truth is not, the truth is coming out. And although I think everybody's playing both sides, I also think that a lot of us are a lot smarter than they anticipated, and a lot bolder, because we are not afraid to share the truth. So they are like scrambling now. They got to try to figure out what's going to happen. So I'm looking for this war efforts to escalate. I'm looking for something cataclysmic to happen, not just here in America, but globally, because you got to perpetuate the lie. The biggest economy now is going to be war. So, they got to do that so they can take down the old system, so they can bring up the new system. And then there's just so much stuff going on behind the scenes. All these different non-political groups are coming together and creating these laws that will be run by the international court, international criminal courts through The Hague, in concert with the United Nations. It's so much stuff, y'all. It's a deep, deep, deep web of deception going on. And all roads lead back to Rome. I say that all the time. But if you read some of the stuff, especially like with the ICC, a lot of this stuff is based off of Roman statutes. And we already know what time that is for us African Americans, because we've already been subjugated by those statutes long time ago. And so we are getting ready to go back under that type of rule. And because a lot of us are waking up, because a lot of us are seeing everything for what it is, they have to accelerate their agenda. That's the best way I can say it. And so you're going to see a lot of things happening really fast. Lastly, before I go, I want to tell you about my thoughts. I watched the old Red Dawn movie again. I watched it last night and I watched it again this morning. Because that movie came out in the 80s and I was a little girl, so I remember it. But I wanted to watch it for present truth. And there were so many things, so many takeaways from that movie. So I recommend y'all go watch it again, just because we need to. But, as I watched that movie, I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Being in the wintertime, having to live in the mountains. But, in the Bible, that's where it tells us to go, if we have any issues. So, a lot of it is present truth, but it's tied to scripture. Like, it's just amazing when you are awakened, the things that you can see and link together, and how the adversary puts these things right in front of our face, like a joke, and we missed it, or we have missed it. And so now that we are awakened, we could just see differently. And so that's kind of why I go back and watch some of the old stuff that I watch. But another thing that I didn't really pay attention to was like the re-education camps. I know a lot of us probably gonna be in re-education camps, and it's not funny, but I mean, if you are out here trying to tell present truth, or if we are deemed troublemakers, and if you are black in America, you are automatically labeled as a troublemaker. I'm sorry. So we can expect to go to some re-education camps. I'm sorry. I'm sitting in the shade, so my nose is running. So I apologize. But the re-education camp was very interesting to me because one of the things that the movie talked about was if you own guns, if you were smart, awakened, and if you were deemed a troublemaker. And when they came in, when they parachuted into this area, the Alphabet organization from um, P. Daddy's country, if you know who P. Daddy is, not the dragon, the other folks. Um, they came in with a list of people who were deemed troublemakers, and they went and first thing they did was round those people up. So that was eye-opening for me for a variety of reasons. I won't say here. And, you know, at some point those people were killed. They were kept there and then they were killed. And you can see they were abused and beaten. A lot of men. So brothers ought to know, this something that we have to really think about because we're not prepared for war in America. We're not taught about war. War is fought in other places, not here on American soil. And so we don't know what that looks like. We don't know we just don't understand. And we're thinking, like in that movie, people parachuted down and started shooting. Well, it may not be parachutes because they've opened the borders up. And, that was something else they talked about in the movie, how they came across the Mexican border. A lot of immigrants came here and they weren't really immigrants. They were really soldiers. And so they were able to take over certain parts of the country. And in the movie, I can't remember what they called the areas that were captured versus the free areas. But that was interesting. And also in the movie, they showed where they were burning books. They didn't really have access to the radio when they were occupied, when the invaders came and occupied the town. And they had to wait a long time before help came. That was the other thing that was, interesting, that the country allowed that town to be invaded. How it happened or why it happened, I don't know. But it allowed the country to be invaded. And then they had to go, the people in that town and in that area had to go through the entire winter. And the winter was harsh. They were in the mountains. It was cold. It was snow. They had to hunt and, get it how they lived it. Wasn't no go to the store. They couldn't go back to the town because their names were on the list because they knew how to live off the land and they knew how to use weapons. And I guess because they had escaped, the invaders knew who everybody was. So when they couldn't find certain people, they were on the list. And of course, in the movie, there were always people who lived because there are going to be people who are cowards and who get in line and do what the invaders want in order to save their lives. But the rebels or the troublemakers or the truth tellers or whatever, people who just like, I ain't going out without a fight, were collected and taken to these camps. So that was something else that I thought about, and it's like, what happens if that happens to us? And then, having to endure an entire winter, like, that's a lot. Having to live outside in the winter. And you may have to live with people you don't even know. All of y'all trying to survive. You got some who crying and whining, want to go home, want their mom and daddy. And you got some who just become cold and callous and be like, I'm gonna kill everything ain't moving, that is moving, if it don't look like it's American or doesn't talk like it's American. And then, towards the end, that group stayed together. They started getting killed, but eventually they were able to fight long enough and stay alive long enough until the spring, or close to the spring, when, I'm assuming, because they didn't really show this at the end of the movie, when the government came in and reconquered or took over the area, fought the invaders, and they were defeated. So I took away from that, ain't nobody coming to get us for a long time. You're gonna have to fight for yourself. So you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared. You need to have seeds you can grow. You need to have water. Like, it's just so many things that I took away from that movie, and not being in the city. And it seemed like the people who didn't live, there was only one person they showed in this movie who didn't live in the city. And throughout the movie, they were able to go back to this man's place, and he always had food. You could see the jars of food where they had canned preserved food. They had all sorts of things out there, but it was like rural living. That was the takeaway. That's what's going to save you. You're not going to make it if you're in the town. You're not going to make it if you're in the city. So y'all need to try to get out of the cities. Get out as best you can. Because as you can see with these migrant crises, a lot of these people have been paid to come here. A lot of these people are being supported. And it's part of a larger effort to destabilize certain areas so that those areas can be taken over. So we're going to have chaos in this country. And you just look at what happened, I think it was yesterday, with the with the people taking over the Capitol again while the Papa wasn't there. Like, y'all, there's so much stuff going on. I can't even say all the stuff that I want to say. But y'all notice how all the people who were outraged about the January 6th people don't have nothing to say about them small hats and their supporters, or whoever was going up in the Capitol yesterday, storming it again. Come on, y'all. Y'all got to see what's happening. Every time your country is demoralized, every time, it is a show to the world that your government is no good. Like, it's not working. It's dysfunctional. So it makes it easier to take you over, and it lowers the morale of the citizens. So y'all keep your head up. Keep your nose out of other folks' business. Mind black business now. That's what you do. Mind black business. Don't think a vote is going to save you. It's not. Keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High. We are in a movie. A bad movie. Thank goodness we can see, though. Everybody is not asleep. The one thing that I will tell you, though, is I believe that because so much information is coming out so quickly, I think they're going to start censoring us soon. Every video I've posted over the last couple of days, I've had to do an appeal for, because of the URL, which is usually something directly from like MSN or a news agency, but they'll flag my video and take it down because of the link. That's something that I read in the video. So anticipate, we're probably not going to be around soon. So you really, really, really got to get your truth as much as you can, as often as you can. If you could download or save videos, do that, because soon you're not going to be able to get any truth except for what they want you to know. And what they want you to know is lies. Lies, lies. All right, y'all. I'm gone because my neighbor's dog is cutting up real bad. I got to go play with him. His name is Papa. All right, this is Marley K. Love y'all. Take care.